Well, Milford got their home schedule started here at Fino last night, taking on Shrewsbury Post 397. It all started off well for Milford with 2 runs in the first inning, courtesy of RBIs from Kevin Valentine and Aiden Wild. But that 2-0 lead quickly turned into a 4-2 deficit as Shrewsbury battled back with 2-run innings in both the second and third, with some miscues in the infield and outfield contributing to those runs. As Milford played an uncharacteristically sloppy game in the field early on, Shrewsbury was able to tack on an insurance run in the top of the 7th inning, and despite Milford having base runners virtually all game long, they stranded 11 total on the night, but they came up on the losing end, losing to Shrewsbury by a final score of 5-2. So now 1-1 overall on the season, and they are right back to work here at Fino tonight, getting set to take on Sturbridge Post 109. And I'm very happy to be joined on the broadcast this evening by an alumni of Milford High School, currently a student at Syracuse University, just finished up his freshman year. Anthony Mazzini joining me on the broadcast. Anthony, good to have you on the call.
It's great to be on the call, and I look forward to a good game of Milford Legion baseball here against Sturbridge tonight. Like you mentioned, they played a little bit of a sloppy game last night, left a lot of runners on base, so those will be 2 corrections that Milford and head coach Steve DeVito will look to make tonight. Milford has always been a competitive sports town. Legion has been one of the best sports to watch here in this town, and they'll look to get back on the winning path here tonight against Sturbridge.
And for Post 59, leading it off is the shortstop Matt DeCina. Brian Espinette bats second and plays second. Kevin Valentine plays first base and bats third, with Aiden Wild, the third baseman, batting cleanup. Blake Hill is the DH, batting fifth, with Jeff Basazzi, the catcher, batting sixth. Joe Sanchione bats seventh and plays right field, with Michael Farrell in left field batting eighth, and batting ninth is the center fielder Sean Rebello. Your pitching matchup, Tyler Stover on the hill for Sturbridge and Derek Izzo on the hill for Post 59. One final commercial break and we will wrap up pregame and bring you the first pitch next here on First Class Radio. Derek Izzo completes his warm-up tosses. And the product of Bellingham High School, a recent graduate of Bellingham, as a number of Bellingham High students made the Legion roster this year. Derek Izzo a chance to get his start. And Anthony, I would imagine some butterflies going on in Derek Izzo as he gets set to make his Legion debut.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said in the pregame, Milford's a very competitive sports town, and there's a lot of eyes on you and a lot of pressure on you to perform well. Luckily for Izzo, as he comes from Bellingham High School, which is another very competitive sports town, you always seem to find them in the high school playoff tournament. So there will be some butterflies, but he's expected, and I believe he will pitch well tonight.
And so the warm-up toss is completed now as we are set to go just a few minutes ahead of schedule, just prior to 7 p.m. at 6:58. We'll get the first pitch in as Connor McCaffrey gets set to stand in on the right side, facing the right-handed throwing Derek Izzo. Milford unveiling a new look in the game here tonight as they show off their brand new blue uniform tops. A retro look, a pullover style uniform with navy blue coloring and also gold lettering and also trim around the sleeves. A very slick look that Coach DeVito was a big fan of. The first pitch of the game into McCaffrey is fouled away and baseball underway. And now a called strike to McCaffrey, and he quickly falls behind in the count. A look in now for Izzo, back into his windup. Here's the pitch. Took something off that one, but it stayed upstairs. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes the count.
That's a good pitch by Izzo to change the eye level of the hitter after he threw the first 2 pitches down in the zone.
The 1-2 pitch now on the way. Swung on and hit on the ground to third base. A little bobble from Wild, but he recovers. Good live arm across the way. Gets there in time. 5-3 on the ground out.
And that's a good play by Wild at third base. We see it all the time, especially in the high school games. There's a terrible lip over at third base, and Aiden did a good job of getting the ball into his glove off of his chest a little bit of a bobble, but he has a strong arm and was able to make the out at first base.
1 down now ahead of Brandon McMullen, the catcher. The first pitch into the right-hander misses outside for a ball. 1 out and the base is empty, just 2 batters deep in this top of the first inning. Izzo's pitch is hit softly on the ground to the left side. Fielding it is DeCina. The throw across is offline, but Valentine able to recover and apply the tag for out number 2.
That's a good play on both ends. DeCina, that was a very slowly hit ground ball by McCullen. He had to come in on it, was off balance on his throw, but a good play by Valentine to recognize that he needed to come off the bag to make the play and was able to apply the tag on the runner.
So 2 up and 2 down, a chance for a 1-2-3 start to the outing for Izzo, but first has to deal with Jared Weatherby. A lefty batter, he swings at the first pitch and grounds it foul down the first base line. Defensively for Milford tonight, Jeff Basazzi behind the plate, Aiden Wild at third, Matt DeCina at short, Brian Espinette at second, and Kevin Valentine at first. Left to right in the outfield, Michael Farrell, Sean Ribello, and Joe Sanchioni. Derek Izzo, the starting pitcher, ready now with an 0-1 delivery. And it's hit on the ground again to DeCina at short. A much more routine play. A high throw. And Valentine can't pull it down in time to apply the tag this time. So Weatherby safe at first base. And that will go as an error on DeCina at short.
And we mentioned in the pregame that one of the things Milford needed to correct after last night's game was errors both in the infield and the outfield. A poor throw by DeCina from short to first, a little bit high for Valentine to handle. He tried the same play as last time to come down and tag the runner. Wasn't able to get it this time, so hopefully Milford can avoid this mistake and get out of the inning unscathed.
A chance for the starting pitcher, Tyler Stover, to take an at-bat. And the first pitch is lined out to left field. In comes Farrell. He has to play it on a hop. Moving up to second base and holding there is Weatherby. So all of a sudden now what could have been a quick and easy inning is starting to get dicey. 2 on now and 2 out with Keegan Moynihan coming to the plate. An error followed by the single, and now Moynihan digs in on the right side. A late addition to the lineup. Brady Ravenel out, Moynihan in. And Moynihan takes a pitch low for ball 1. Valentine opting to play behind the runner at first base. DeCina charging in hard behind the runner at second. That draws the attention of Izzo, who spins around, does not throw.
And it looks like the center fielder, Ribello, is shading Moynihan a little bit to the left, leaving a large gap in the right center gap.
Pitch in tight on Moynihan. 2 balls and no strikes now the count. A 2-out opportunity presenting itself for Sturbridge. The set by Izzo. Here's the pitch. This is hit high in the air out to center field. Racing back goes Ribello, now settling underneath. He secures the ball in his glove for the out that retires the side. A good charge put into that ball by Moynihan. But, of course, plenty of territory to roam out in deep center field. Ribello makes up the ground and is able to make the catch. So Sturbridge strands 2 runners in the top of the first inning. They cannot score. And Milford Post 59 will take their first swings of the game when we come back next here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on First Class Radio. And so now Milford will send Matt DeCina, Brian Espinette, and Kevin Valentine to the plate here in the bottom of the first inning against Tyler Stover. Stover did have the hit in the top half of this inning. The right-hander completing his warm-up tosses now as Matt DeCina slowly strides towards the box. Also happy once again to have Milford TV as part of the coverage tonight. Rob O'Keefe and Tim Rosidi taking care of the TV side of things. So once again, you'll be able to enjoy all of the sights and sounds of the game on Milford TV's educational channel a little bit later in the week, and also, of course, on YouTube. Set to go now in this bottom of the first inning as Stover is ready. And DeCina steps in on the left side. DeCina, a hit and a walk in the game yesterday. Also had a run scored. Takes a pitch low for ball 1 to open up this at bat.
And you mentioned the retro uniforms that Milford is debuting tonight. DeCina takes it a step further with the high socks with the stirrups. It's always a look that I've respected, and it's always a look that I've really enjoyed. I actually wore stirrups during my playing years at Milford High School, so I really like the look that DeCina brings to the field each night out.
Yeah, straight out of the 70s or 80s for DeCina with the entire look tonight.
The retros seem to be making their way back in.
Well, I know Coach DeVito was particularly excited about them as the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. A couple of different looks for Milford this year, along with the road gray uniforms that they debuted to start the season. Meanwhile, DeCina goes opposite field, sends a line drive to left field, down for a hit. It bounces over the glove of McCaffrey and rolls towards the fence. DeCina will stop at second base after a wide turn. Connor McCaffrey going into a bit of an awkward dive out there in left field. The ball bounced in front of him and then over, his glove rolled away. And it ends up as a double for Matt DeCina.
It looks like McCaffrey lost his footing a little bit in left field. Didn't look like he wanted to dive for that ball because he dove extremely late. I think what happened is after he lost his footing, he kind of dove for it to try to stop the ball since he was going down. But since he lost his footing, the ball was able to get by him, and what should have been a single turns into a double for DeCina.
And now Espinette showing bunt. He pops it up. The pitcher springs off the mound and is able to make the backhanded grab. Not the best technique for Espinette as he popped that one straight up. The only question was going to be, would it hang in the air long enough for Stover to be able to make the play, and he made a nice sliding catch.
And that's a very athletic play by Stover. After delivering the pitch, realizing that the bunt was on its way down, except it didn't get down, it went up. And Stover was able to make a quick reaction and get off the mound and make a nice play.
So 1 out in the inning. DeCina remains at second base now for Kevin Valentine, who really has been the hottest hitter by far in this Milford lineup through the first 2 games. Watches the first pitch miss the strike zone, and now we'll see a bluff off the back of the mound from Stover. Valentine once again was able to drive in Milford's first run with a single last night. He then walked twice and reached on an error. So far, Valentine has driven in 4 of the 6 runs Milford has scored on the season. He sends a line drive up over the glove of the shortstop Gonzalez, out into left center. A bobble out there by McCaffrey, and rounding third base, coming home with the first run of the day is DeCina. So again, not the smoothest of play out there in left field from McCaffrey, although it looked like DeCina would have scored even with a clean play out there. So it should still go as an RBI for Valentine, who has another hit and another run batted in, giving Milford a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, the throw did come home, but like you mentioned, Tim, I think DeCina was going to score either way. The throw was very late, and Valentine picks up another RBI with a single here in the bottom of the first.
The hot hitting continues, really looks locked in right from the get-go. And now we see Aiden Wild, who takes a borderline pitch for a strike on the outer edge. Wild also with an RBI in the game yesterday with a sacrifice fly. And now a called strike 2 in at the knees of Wild. Aiden up now. Blake Hill serving as the DH tonight, waits on deck. Here's the pitch now, a swing and a miss, and Wild quickly goes down on strikes.
And that's a good sequence by Stover. Started out Aiden Wild with a fastball on the outside part of the plate, and then threw back-to-back curveballs, pretty nasty curveballs, and Aiden Wild goes down swinging.
So 2 outs now in the inning. It does leave it up to Hill. And it's good to see Blake right out on the field after exiting the game early last night. Took a hard dive into second base where a lot of the infield dirt got kicked up into the face of Blake Hill. They tried to bring some water out to the field to clear out his eyes, but a little bit of swelling in one of the eyes as the game went on, so Coach DeVito got him out of the game. He was able to wash everything out later that night, and now good to go as now Valentine takes off for second base. The throw into second from the catcher, not close. Bounces away, but not far enough for any further advance. So a theft of second base for Valentine. The pitch was a strike, no balls and 1 strike the count.
And like you mentioned, Tim, having Blake back in this lineup tonight is very valuable for Milford. When you can roll out a lineup that has Valentine, Wild, and Hill hitting 3, 4, 5, it puts other teams in a very difficult position to pitch against Milford.
It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count now on Hill. The left-handed batter. Ready to see the next pitch. He hits a hard line drive. That's up through the middle for a base hit. They'll wave Valentine around from third base. The throw-in is cut off on the center of the diamond. Another run in the inning for post 59 on the first hit of the season for Blake Hill. Drives in a 2-out RBI, and Milford takes a 2-0 lead.
And Milford has had a lot of solid contact off Sturbridge's starter Stover tonight, as we saw that with another line drive up the middle by Blake Hill for his first hit and RBI of the season.
Keeps the inning alive now for Jeff Basazzi. Meanwhile, a quick pickoff play at first base, and Hill a little bit slow to get back to the bag, but he just gets the hand in there ahead of the tag. Hill immediately takes off. The pitch is in for a strike. Here comes the throw down to second. It bounces, and Hill is safe. It looks like maybe Milford has diagnosed something in the throwing arm of the catcher, Brandon McMullen. They are running early and often here in the first. We've seen a couple of throws bounce into second base. Here's the 0-1 now to Basazzi. It's a high bouncer to third. Waiting for it is Wade. A little bit of a bobble. Now a high throw. And the tag is not applied in time. Basazzi able to beat it out. That was close.
Yeah, that looked very close. It looked like Moynihan, had the tag down, but Basazzi apparently beat it out. Moynihan did appeal to the umpire, saying that he had the ball and showed him that he made the tag, but the umpire wasn't having any of it, and Basazzi reaches on an error.
So the error going against Tyler Wade, and now a pickoff check at first base. Basazzi dives back in. So each side committing a miscue here in the first. Milford already with 2 runs home in the inning. They now have runners at the corners ahead of Joe Sanchioni. About to see his first pitch, and he hits a high fly ball out to left field. McCaffrey settling underneath, and he is able to secure the catch for the out that ends the inning. But a productive first inning once again for Milford. They score 2 times on RBI singles by Kevin Valentine and Blake Hill, and after 1 full inning of play, it is Milford 2 and Sturbridge 0 here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on WMRC First Class Radio. Well, one thing you can say for certain about this 2016 Milford Legion team, they like to hit in the first inning. 3 runs in the first against Leominster to open up the season, 2 runs last night against Shrewsbury, and now 2 more runs in the first inning here tonight against Sturbridge to take an early lead. As a matter of fact, Milford has scored all but 1 of their runs so far on the season in the first. So hopefully tonight they can distribute the offense a little more evenly throughout the rest of the game.
And another thing we can say about this 2016 Milford Legion team is that they're aggressive, and I think that's part of the reason why they're scoring so many runs in the first inning. And early in the game, as even more broadly, we saw there in the bottom of the first inning, 2 stolen bases, putting runners in scoring position, and that led to 3 hits and 2 runs for the Milford squad.
So Izzo now with a lead to work with, and he pours in strike 1 to the number 6 hitter Tyler Wade, facing 6, 7, and 8 in the top of the second inning. Izzo's next pitch just missing off the inside part of the plate. Now a ball and a strike. Tyler Wade followed by Colin Eliason and Isaac Gonzalez. This pitch is lined out to shallow left field. That's going to drop in front of Farrell for a base hit. So the second hit now for Sturbridge. They get the leadoff runner aboard. Last night, Milford securing that early lead, but Tyler Broder immediately giving it back with 2 runs in the second inning. Izzo hoping to have that all-important shutdown inning here. And right now showing bunt is Elias, and he fouls it away for strike one. Once again, a good amount of fans on hand here at Fino Field to see the second of 3 games played in consecutive order here at Fino. A 3-game homestand followed by 6 games away from Fino coming up after tomorrow night. So fans taking the opportunity to see the team here at home while they can. After tomorrow night, they will not be back at home until June 25th.
And that makes these next couple games very important for Milford to be able to secure a couple wins here at home.
The pitch in is waved at and missed by Eliason. And he's down 0-2.
And that was a nasty curveball by Izzo. Eliason stepping out, his knee buckled, was very confused and very baffled that that curveball broke back into the zone. And a huge swing and a miss by Eliason.
Wade out to a walking lead at first. Valentine holding him on. He takes off. The pitch is up and away. Basazzi's throw down to second is high, and that will allow Wade to slide in safely. The pitch was high and away. It almost served as a pitch out, but still Basazzi couldn't get the best of throws away, and so it will be a steal for Wade.
Yeah, it looks like he had a little bit of a difficulty getting it out of his glove and had to rush the throw because he paused a little bit for a minute there. And it was a good strong throw, but it was a little bit high, and Decina had to jump and wasn't able to get the tag down in time.
So to start off this at bat, Eliason was looking to sacrifice that runner into scoring position. Instead, now Sturbridge with the benefit of the steal. A 1-ball, 2-strike count on Colin Eliason up there on the right side. Here's the next pitch from Derek Izzo, and it's waved at and missed for strike 3.
And that was a curveball again by Izzo. Featured it a couple times in that at bat, and he was able to put Eliason finally down by way of the K.
We heard a bit of a scouting report on both Tyler Broder and Derek Izzo when we talked to Coach DeVito yesterday. He said the same thing about both pitchers. Not overpowering with the fastball, but good command and also good secondary pitches. Izzo with 1 out in the inning and now drops a pitch in at the knees of Gonzalez for strike 1.
Yeah, it looks like Izzo is going to feature a fastball. Like you mentioned, not very fast, but he's going to throw it and hit his spots, all the corners, up, down, wherever he needs to get it. A curveball and a changeup.
Line drive out to left field. That's down for a base hit. Ricochets off into foul territory. Rounding third base is Wade. The throw will come into second base. And scoring is Wade from second base. It's an RBI single for Isaac Gonzalez. And Sturbridge right back into the ball game now. It's 2-1. That one lined up over Aiden Wild. A touchdown just a few feet behind the infield dirt, but then took a odd hop towards foul territory. Farrell had to track it down. No problem for Wade to score from second. And now first pitch swinging, Mick Sullivan, the number 9 hitter, sends a pitch out to the right center field gap. Sanchioni dives but can't get it. Now Sean Rebello having some trouble. All the way around from first base comes Gonzalez. Here comes the throw to the plate now. It's too far in front of the plate. Sliding in safely is Gonzalez with the second run of the game. And just like that, Sturbridge is able to tie the score at 2.
And that was a very good effort by Sanchioni in right field. That ball was falling quickly. Laid out full extension, wasn't able to come up with it, and then a little bit of trouble getting it in by Rebello and Sanchioni out there, and it allowed the runner to be able to come in and score for the second run for Sturbridge and ties the game up.
So it likely will go in the books as a single for Sullivan. He takes second base on the throw-in from the outfield, but collects the run batted in. And Gonzalez, who you could see didn't have the greatest speed out there on the base paths, but after the failed diving attempt from Sanchioni, by the time Rebello was able to get to the ball, Gonzalez was able to come all the way around from first to score. So right now this game playing out eerily similar to what we saw last night. 2 runs for Milford in the first to take the lead, and now Sturbridge battling right back to tie it. And now here's Connor McCaffrey, who skies a pitch out to right center field. An easier play this time for Sanchioni, who makes the catch. Sullivan has to hold at second base as McCaffrey is out number 2. So Izzo trying to end the rally right here. Sturbridge still with that runner in scoring position. Mick Sullivan at second. And now Brandon McMullen at the plate, who takes a breaking ball high for ball one. Three hits in the inning for Sturbridge to supply 2 runs. And now a fastball in for a strike. That evens the count at 1.
And we saw the command there by Izzo on that last pitch. Low and away on the fastball. A pitcher's pitch, it looked like a little bit, might have been just off the plate a little bit, but good command allowed him to hit that outside spot.
And now a fisted ball out towards second base, fielded by Espinette. He throws to first for the out. That ends the inning 4-3 on that ground out, but the damage done as Sturbridge was able to get to Derek Izzo for 3 hits and 2 runs scored. So after an inning and a half, it is now tied at 2 between Milford and Sturbridge as you enjoy coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on First Class Radio. Tied at 2 now as we head to the bottom of the second inning. Tim Coet and Anthony Mazzini on the call for WMRC First Class Radio. And so Derek Izzo last inning facing 6 batters, allowing those 2 runs after Milford had taken once again a first inning lead. So tied at 2 as Milford will send batters 8, 9, and 1 to the plate here in the second. Michael Farrell will lead it off. Farrell getting a start for the 2nd time this season. He did make a pinch hitting appearance yesterday. Came up in the spot of Blake Hill when he was taken out of the game, went 0 for 1 with a ground out. Farrell now settling in on the right side. Tyler Stover about to deliver his first pitch, and it's in for strike 1. Milford trying to bring up some chatter here out of the dugout to open up the inning. As Farrell takes a pitch low and away, it bounces in the dirt in the left side batter's box. Farrell looking for that elusive first hit on the season, albeit in limited at-bats so far. Here's the 1-1 offering, and that misses for ball 2.
And this is an important inning for Milford here. They got those 2 runs quickly in the bottom of the first inning, but then Izzo allowed those couple of runs to Sturbridge in the top of the second inning. Now it's a tie game, and Milford will look to get back in the run column here in the the bottom of the second inning.
Farrell well out in front now, 3 balls and a strike. Of course, a lot we'll keep you updated on over the course of the game today. We'll get you updated on a look around Zone 4. We'll also keep you up to date on the Red Sox and Orioles. As Farrell takes the pitch low for ball 4, a leadoff walk. Leadoff batter aboard now as Sean Rebello, the number 9 hitter, comes up next. And a quick pickoff check over at first base, but Farrell's back easily.
And let's see if Milford goes with the sacrifice route here with Rebello up to bat, the number 9 man with the top of the order up next. They tried it with Espinette last inning. Let's see if they go that route again. Doesn't look like it.
Not showing bunt on the first pitch, which is taken high for a ball, so all of a sudden the command starting to waver a bit for Stover after his offense battled back to tie it. Of course, Stover part of that offense, the starting pitcher in the lineup for post 109. And now missing low and away for ball 2.
And it's always a sign of how good your pitcher is, depending on where he bats in the order. A lot of times, like we're seeing with Milford tonight with Izzo being replaced by the designated hitter Blake Hill. With Sturbridge, on the other hand, Stover is the number 4 hitter, so he's a valuable part of their offense as well.
Next pitch from Stover, just over the outside part of the plate for a called strike. 2 balls and 1 strike, nobody out, and Michael Farrell at first base. A very modest lead for Farrell. Here's the pitch. Off the end of the bat and popped up out to shallow right field. It will go just barely beyond the infield dirt. A bit of a stumble for Mick Sullivan, the second baseman, but he's able to hang on to make the catch. So Ravello retired for the first out of the inning, and now we go second time through the lineup. As Tessina comes back up, he hit a double to open up the bottom of the first inning before coming around to score on Valentine's RBI hit. Stover taking a peek over at first base before coming to the set. Here's the pitch to Tessina. It's to the opposite field in the air out to left, but it will hang up for McCaffrey to make the catch. Tessina aggressively swinging at that first pitch, but he goes down for out number 2. So now here is Espinette, who came into the game batting .429 on this early part of the season, 3 hits in 7 at-bats. But as Anthony mentioned, was looking to sacrifice his first time up and ended up popping up the bunt, and it was caught by the pitcher. Swings away at the first pitch, drives it in the air out to left field. A late break for McCaffrey, but fortunately for the Sturbridge left fielder, that ball lands foul.
And it's a small sample size so far for Espinette, but so far a red-hot start for him, as well as a lot of the other Milford hitters in this lineup, especially the one on deck, Kevin Valentine. Hopefully they can get the lineup over to him.
Espinette up there with a count of 1 no balls and 1 strike. Another short lead for Farrell at first. He walked to lead off this inning, but now still stands there at first base with 2 down. Stranded base runners were a big problem for Milford last night. 11 of them in total. They do check on Farrell at first base, but he gets back easily. A quick update from Fenway Park. It is scoreless between the Red Sox and the Orioles heading to the bottom of the second inning. Espinette takes a pitch that just nicks the inside part of the plate for a called strike 2.
And that's a big sweeping curveball by Stover there. Featured it a couple times in the first inning. Just showed it there to Espinette. Let's see if he comes back with a fastball here to keep Espinette off balance.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning. Here is the pitch. It's on the outside part of the plate. It misses for a ball. The runner taking off for second base. The throw late and a steal for Michael Farrell. A good throw may have had Farrell, but again, we see not the strongest of throws from catcher Brandon McMullen. Short hopped end was offline. So now a runner in scoring position. Espinette swings away at the next pitch, hits it foul off to the left, and that will make its way out of play.
Yeah, Tim, you hit the nail on the head. McCullen doesn't appear to have a very strong throwing arm. He's not the biggest kid. He's kind of tall and skinny. Not that you have to be big to be a good catcher, but he does. The couple of throws that we've seen, I think that's Milford's 3rd stolen base tonight. He hasn't shown a very good arm here so far.
Pitch delivered high into Espinette. Two balls and 2 strikes. Now the count to the Milford second baseman, trying to move it along to give Valentine a chance. Another pitch and another high fly ball hit foul off to the left and again out of play.
Well, if nothing else, this is a good at-bat by Espinette to drive up the pitch count of Stover.
Right-hander staring in for the sign. Shakes off the first one, now has the pitch he likes. Here it comes to the plate. It's high and inside, but Espinette able to drive it out to right field, but not deep enough. Jared Weatherby able to make the catch. And that will retire the side here in the bottom of the second inning, so Milford will strand the runner in scoring position. 2 innings in the books now from Fino Field, and we're all tied up at 2 between Milford Post 59 and Sturbridge Post 109 here on your home for Milford Legion Baseball, WMRC First Class Radio. Back at Fino Field, the start of the top half of inning number 3. Milford taking on Sturbridge, a tied ball game. Tim Coed and Anthony Mazzini here on the call. It will be batters 3, 4, and 5 due up for post 109 against Derek Izzo. Izzo looking for a bounce back inning after allowing 2 runs to tie the game last inning. And Jared Weatherby, the number 3 batter to start it off. Here's the first pitch from Izzo. And that just barely misses for ball 1. Back into his windup. Here is the 1-0 pitch. Pulls that one just a little bit back towards the outside corner. Gets the call this time, and the count evens at 1-1. And now time granted around home plate. While we have the opportunity, we'll give you a quick rundown of all of the final scores from last night around Zone 4. Just a quick timeout. We'll start after the next pitch, which misses away for ball 2. We'll start with that elusive final score from Leominster and Wachusett that gave us fits last night. We can tell you Leominster was able to defeat Wachusett 4-2 in 8 innings. Sturbridge also defeating Cherry Valley, as we mentioned, a mercy rule victory for Sturbridge to get their first win of the year, 14-3, the final score in 6 innings. Northborough was able to defeat Maine South 3-2, and of course Shrewsbury topped Milford here at Fino by a final score of 5-2. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Meanwhile on Weatherby, the next pitch in from Izzo, and that's golfed foul, and Weatherby stays alive. Full slate of games tonight. A lot of those games already well in progress. A 5 o'clock start time for Grafton Hill versus Wachusett. 5:30 starts for Northbridge versus Framingham, Leominster versus Maine South, and Northborough versus North County. And of course, Milford versus Sturbridge. And Eastside taking on Shrewsbury in a 7:30 start time, so that game just getting underway. A 3-ball, 2-strike count now. Here's the pitch. It is popped up out to center field. This will actually travel a pretty decent ways out there in center, but Sean Rebello able to track it down for out number 1. We'll look to bring you some of those score updates from tonight's games as they come in.
And as you rattled off those scores, that 14-3 beatdown that Sturbridge put on last night, they'll look to carry some momentum from that game into this game tonight. Already with 2 runs on the board here, they're looking for more here in the top of the 3rd.
1 out and the base is empty. Tyler Stover takes a pitch inside for ball 1. It had been a rough start to the year for Sturbridge, losing in their season debut to Northborough in a high-scoring game, losing 10-7. And then getting shut out by Grafton Hill 10-0 on June 11th, and they followed that up with a 9-3 loss against Framingham before finally breaking out in that 14-3 mercy rule win last night against Sturbridge. So 1-3 overall on the season. Now a tapper from Stover to the left side of the infield, a good rangy play from Aiden Wild, fielding it cleanly and throwing to first base for the out.
And one thing I've noticed about Wild is he has improved his defense a lot. He was always a capable defender and an excellent hitter, but if there was one area of his game that he had some room to improve, it was his defense. I had the pleasure of playing with him last year for the Milford High School team, and seeing the couple plays he's made here tonight, he's really improved his defensive game.
Izzo now set to face Keegan Moynihan. He swings at the first pitch and hits it just foul. Hard ground ball down the third base line, but just kicking foul. So no balls and 1 strike the count. Moynihan 0 for 1. Flew out to center field to conclude the first inning when Sturbridge was threatening with 2 on. And now the pitch misses, evening the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Very calm conditions here at Fino right now. The American flag lying perfectly still out in left center. Pitch missing away, 2 balls and 1 strike the count.
And that's very rare to have no wind here at Fino Field. We always get the lake effect when we're down here. So having no wind it's really nice having no wind here tonight.
Now a called strike 2 towards the top of the zone. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Izzo looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. Gets the sign from Basazi, comes to the set. The windup and the pitch is waved at and missed. It briefly gets away from Basazi. He will throw down to Valentine at first to complete the out. It's the first strikeout. Make that the second strikeout of the game for Derek Izzo. And he does indeed come through with a 1-2-3 inning here in the top of the third. We will move right on to the home half of the inning. Still tied at 2 between Milford and Sturbridge here on First Class Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, we once again ask you to support Milford Legion Baseball by participating in our 50-50 raffle. As a reminder, the winning number will be drawn in the 5th inning. Thank you again for your support.
Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on First Class Radio, brought to you in part by Bellingham Electric. For your next appliance purchase, it's Bellingham Electric Sales and Service, Pulaski Boulevard in Bellingham. Coverage also brought to you in part by Crystal Pool and Spa, the pool supply store that's all about fun, located at Route 140 in Bellingham. 2 runs on 3 hits with 1 error for Post 59. 2 runs on 4 hits with an error for Sturbridge Post 109. Tied game as we enter into the bottom of the 3rd inning, where Kevin Valentine will lead things off. And if you're a team opposing Milford right now, this is the best case scenario to deal with Kevin Valentine with nobody on base. Look into the plate from Tyler Stover, back out there for his 3rd inning of work. He deals in a pitch outside for ball 1.
Well, it's the best case scenario, but at the same time, it's not a good scenario either, because with him in this capacity, he can serve as a table setter and then hand the lineup over to Wild and Hill, who are both very dangerous hitters themselves.
Called strike on the outer part of the plate. 1-1. The windup and the pitch from Stover. And this is hit hard on the ground to second base. A tricky hop for Sullivan, but he stays with it and makes the short throw to first base. And Stover able to retire Kevin Valentine for the first out of the inning.
That's a good play by Sullivan there. Rangy play to his left. The ball did hop up a little bit. Was able to adjust his glove positioning and made a good throw to first base to finally retire Valentine, who has been tearing up league pitching so far this year.
We have gotten our first round of score updates from tonight's games around the zone. We'll get to those in just a bit. First, Aiden Wild gets into this pitch, sends it out to left field. But backpedaling is McCaffrey, but he can't secure the ball in his glove. It drops, and Aiden Wild will end up at second base. McCaffrey looked like he had plenty of time. He started back, then backpedaled. Looked like he was in good position to make the catch, but just did not look it into the glove.
Yeah, he's been struggling out there a little bit. He lost his footing on one occasion. He didn't secure the ball right off the bat on another occasion, and then this time just dropped the ball on not a routine fly ball, but what should have been caught. So he's been struggling out there so far tonight.
The second Sturbridge error, and a costly one, is now Wild is in scoring position at second with only 1 out. And Blake Hill swings at the first pitch and lines it to the backstop for strike one. So the first game to go final tonight between North County and Northborough, where Northborough was able to come through with the 8-0 victory. So a shutout win for Post 234. Milford will face Northborough for the first time on the season coming up on Friday on the road. Meanwhile, a 1-ball, 1-strike count on the left-handed swinging Blake Hill. Here's the pitch, and it's hit hard out to right field. That is down for a hit, and it's going to get past Weatherby and roll over towards the fence. Around from second base to score easily is Wild. Blake Hill thinking 3 bases. He hits third. They will now wave him to the plate. Here comes the throw. It's going to be offline, and Blake Hill comes through with a 2-run inside the park home run. That one sliced right down the right field line. It got past Weatherby, rolled all the way out towards that 375-foot marker. The only question was going to be, did Hill have enough gas in the tank to circle the bases? Indeed, he did. Helped out a little bit by a poor throw towards the plate. So Blake Hill touches them all, a 2-run inside the Parker.
And I think that ball was hit a lot harder than Weatherby had anticipated out in right field. That ball really got on him quickly. He didn't take the best route to the ball. And by the time he got out there, the ball was rolling past him all the way to the fence. And Blake Hill, with his speed, was able to come home standing up. And what a night for him so far. 2 hits, a home run, and 3 RBIs.
Blake Hill officially getting locked in here tonight. And if you're going to hit a home run at Fino Field, that's the way to do it. You're certainly not going to hit it over the fence unless you put a lot of muscle behind it.
Well, let me tell you, if there's one guy who could hit it over the fence, I'm sure there are a couple other guys here who could hit it over the fence, but Blake Hill would probably be the leader in that category.
Now here's Jeff Basazzi batting with a 2-ball, no-strike count. He pops one foul. The first baseman going as far as he could. Does he make the catch?
What a play.
He did indeed make the catch parallel to the dugout. He was beyond our field of vision. Looks like Coach Wynn at first base is asking whether or not he was beyond the field of play. That was the only question. And so now the home plate umpire is going to come down and talk things over. Coach DeVito also getting involved in the conversation. The play was obstructed from our field of view as Moynihan went over to try to make the catch. He did secure the catch, but going that far, it's hard to believe he was still on the playing surface.
He had to reach, there's a fence over there, and he had to reach over the fence. I don't understand why that wouldn't be a good catch. That's a great play by Moynihan at first base, reaching over the fence into some of the stands, avoiding some spectators down that first base line. That is where the field of play cuts off, but I don't understand why that wouldn't be a good catch. I mean, you can always reach into the stands. I mean, it's a tough play, but you can. I don't understand why that wouldn't be a good catch. Unless there's a Fino Field rule that restricts that, but that's a great play by Moynihan.
I'm not sure if they have any sort of chalk outline down there that rules where the edge of the field of play is. If there is grass there in which, if you step in that area, it does not count as a catch.
There's a chalk outline. The fence ends at some point, and there's a chalk outline all the way down to the scoreboard. And now, I don't know here at Fino Field if fields are different. Some fields, they allow you to roam into the out-of-field play to make a catch, but you have to come back into the field of play to make the throw. A lot of fields, depending on field rules and regulations, you can't even make a catch out there. A lot of times it's a ground rule double if it rolls in there. So I don't know what the rules and regulations here at Fino Field are. You would think I know. I played here for so long, but I don't. I never had to make a play out that far. But I don't understand why this wouldn't be a good catch. It was a fence. It wasn't the chalk line into more grass. It was a fence. That's a very tough play, and he did make the catch. It's no question of whether or not he didn't make the catch, because he did. That was a clean catch. It's a question, I think, of whether or not it's out of play or not.
Everyone involved, and we know that a lot of these Legion fields do have a lot of quirks that need to be explained away, and so it looks like we have a final decision here as now Jeff Basazzi will make his way to the dugout, so the catch will stand. A terrific catch made right at the very edge of the field of play by the first baseman, Keegan Moynihan, for out number 2 of the inning.
And I really do think that's the right call. As much as Bazazzi and Coach DeVito would like to have that one back for another opportunity for Bazazzi, I think they need to recognize the great play and abide by the rules and regulations here at Fino Field and accept that as a good catch.
So bases empty, 2 outs in the inning. Joe Sanchioni at the dish. He swings and misses. Count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Sanchioni lined out to left field to conclude things in the first inning. And now takes a pitch away. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. Milford getting 2 runs in this inning, courtesy of a 2-run inside the park home run from Blake Hill. They lead it now 4-2. As Sanchioni offers at it, fouls it away off to the right side. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning. Stover ready now into his wind. Here's the pitch, and this is popped up. Playable right at the edge of the infield dirt for the second baseman, Mick Sullivan. He makes the catch, and that will end things here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. But again, 2 more runs batted in for Blake Hill as he hits the inside the park home run. Now 3 RBIs in the game for Blake, and Milford is able to jump back on top by a margin of 4-2 over Sturbridge as we continue on here with Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Before we get to the top of the 4th inning, we'll continue with the updates around Zone 4. We told you Northborough defeated North County by a final score of 8-0. And it has gone final also between Maine South and Leominster. Maine South getting 4 runs in the 7th inning to open up a big lead that they would hang on to. Maine South defeats Leominster by a final score of 9-2. So that puts Maine South over the 500 mark at 2-1. Meanwhile, first pitch swinging here in the 4th inning. Tyler Wade lines a pitch out to left field, caught by Michael Farrell for out number 1.
And that's an unlucky piece of hitting by Wade there. Hit the ball right off the barrel of the bat, very hard hit. Line drive, unfortunately, right at the left fielder Farrell for the first out of the inning.
One out in the inning. And a 0-ball, 1 strike count on Colin Eliason. No balls and 2 strikes the count now on Eliason, who was a strikeout victim his first time up. And he swings and misses here. The ball gets away from Basazzi, but he will complete the out down to first base. So 2 strikeouts now in the game for Colin Eliason.
Now batting for Sturbridge, the shortstop.
Yeah, and he hasn't looked comfortable in either at bat so far. His front foot has been swinging open. He's been off balance. The curveball has fooled him multiple times. So hopefully he can right the ship in his next at bat.
Isaac Gonzalez now up with 2 outs and the bases empty. Drove in a run for Sturbridge in his first at bat with an RBI single. And for Derek Izzo, looks like he is starting to settle into a groove here. He's retired the last 7 consecutive Sturbridge batters.
And this was an important inning for him after getting those couple of runs via the Blake Hill home run. We saw him surrender that lead the last time Milford put up 2 runs for him, so this was a good inning for him to go out and shut down Sturbridge, and so far 2 quick outs.
No balls and 1 strike on Gonzalez as he lines this pitch down the left field line. Will it stay fair? No, a foul ball. Just barely to the left of the chalk line out there in left field, a hard hit ball. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning, and so a chance for a very quick and easy inning for Izzo. If he can finish things off against Isaac Gonzalez, he digs back in on the right side, pinwheels the bat. As the pitch comes in from Derek Izzo, and this is a line drive in fair territory out to left, down for a hit. Getting to it on a single bounce is Farrell. He fires it back in, but Isaac Gonzalez comes through with his second hit of the game and will extend things here in the top of the fourth.
And it looks like there's some action in Milford's bullpen. Brian Island, I think, is throwing. Probably just for a little bit of insurance in case Izzo finds himself in a little bit of trouble here in the fourth inning. Can't imagine his pitch count is all that high.
Izzo able to send in strike one to the number 9 bat, Mick Sullivan. Sullivan productive out of this number 9 spot his last time up. Part of back-to-back RBI singles that at the time tied the game at 2. Milford has since regained the lead. Up 4-2 with 2 away here in the top of the fourth. The next pitch in is a tapper foul. Right around the home plate area. And Sullivan down, no balls and 2 strikes. Again, Izzo a chance to get out of the frame. As Gonzalez leads off of first base. A look over there from Izzo. And now he will come to the plate. The pitch is hit on the ground up the middle. A couple of bounces for Espinette. He will fire underhand to second with Decina covering the bag. They'll get the force out there that ends the inning. So the 2-out single proves to be harmless. We head to the bottom of the fourth inning next, where it is Milford 4 and Sturbridge 2 here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Back here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio, a couple of defensive notes to bring you for Sturbridge. First, a defensive change happening in this inning. Colin Eliason out of the game.
Now batting for Milford, the left fielder, Mike Farrell.
And so we will give you the replacement
Defensive change for Sturbridge.
in just a moment, replaced by number 8, Robbie Kenyon. So Kenyon takes over in center field. And we also want to give credit where credit is due, where we talked about the catch right at the edge of the field of play from the first baseman last inning. We had that late lineup change right before the start time tonight, where both Keegan Moynihan and Jared Weatherby were listed as right field. We took a guess as to who was playing first base, and unfortunately that guess was incorrect. It was Jared Weatherby, in fact, who was moved up to first base with Moynihan in right field, so it was Jared Weatherby who made that nice catch right at the edge of the field of play from that first base position. So we do apologize for that mistake with the defensive alignment.
Good catch, Jared.
Certainly a contender for our Stardust Jewelers Diamond Play of the Game, which we will give as part of our post-game report coming up right at the conclusion of Milford Legion baseball coverage.
Well, so far everything for both teams has been routine, so he has to be the front runner so far.
Michael Farrell, Sean Rebello, and Matt Decina, the 3 batters expected for Milford here in the bottom of the fourth, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count already on Farrell. Farrell walked and stole a base in his first at bat, but was stranded at second. Swings away at this pitch and pops it straight up in the air. In foul territory down the first base line, a long run in from Jared Weatherby from first base, who makes the catch.
Now batting for Milford, the center fielder, Sean Rebello.
And so now Rebello will come up with 1 out and the base is clear. Rebello settles into the box, ready to see the first pitch from Stover. He goes into his windup. Here is the pitch. This is swung on and lined out to shallow left field. It bounces in front of McCaffrey. He misplays the ball. It's going to roll all the way towards the left center field fence. On his horse is Rebello. He rounds second base, about to hit third. He's thinking inside the park home run, and he will get there without a throw. Great speed from Rebello. He makes his way all around the bases, and for the second time tonight, we see a Milford inside the park home run. How about that? 2 inside the Parkers in 1 game. This one quickly snuck up over the glove of McCaffrey. I don't think he made contact with the ball. It played a tricky hop on him, got over his glove, rolled all the way to the left center field fence, and by that point, plenty of time for Rebello to circle the bases. So a 5-2 score for Milford with still 1 out in the inning.
Yeah, there was no contact in left field, so that should not be an error. However, a very poor effort by McCaffrey in left field. He's really struggled out there today, and that ball, he wasn't in very good position. That ball just bounced right over his glove, right over basically his whole body. Rolled all the way to the fence and allowed Rebello to come in to score. I got to give credit where credit's due. Rebello did show great speed coming around the bases. With Hill's home run, it's a lot farther out to right field than it is to left field here. So good speed by Rebello to be able to come all the way around the bases and give Milford now a 5-2 advantage.
Matt Tessina now the man at the plate. And he gets into this pitch, sends it high in the air but not deep out to right center field, and it lands in the glove of the right fielder for the 2nd out of the inning.
Second baseman, Ryan Espinette.
Now here is Brian Espinette with the bases empty. He lifts the first pitch he sees out to left center field. Another chance for McCaffrey. He makes the play for the out that ends the inning, but another inside the park home run, as Milford will now increase their lead to 5-2 over Sturbridge Post 109, as we will have the 5th inning come your way right after this commercial break. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Sean Rebello hitting the inside the park home run with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th inning, the 2nd inside the park home run of the game. So Sean Rebello, the number 9 hitter, able to come through with that inside the park shot that quickly shot over the glove of the left fielder. And so Sturbridge not exactly doing themselves any favors defensively, particularly in the outfield in this game today. Not a lot of errors showing up on the scorecard, but there's been some plays to be made out there that could have limited the damage. As Sturbridge sends the top of their order to the plate here to start off the 5th inning, and a painful strike for McCaffrey. Looked like he fouled the pitch off of his left foot. Getting checked on briefly by the coaching staff, but set to continue. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and this is bounced foul off towards the left.
And I think it's fair to say that Milford enjoys having a full team. We've seen in years past where the start of the season has been delayed, or their first couple games, even as much as 1 or 2 weeks, they've been limited by, and some key players have been missing due to high school obligations. And we're seeing tonight with Izzo on the mound throwing a pretty good game so far. Rebello with the home run here. Farrell was able to draw a walk earlier in the game. Tessina leading off with a double. A lot of these out-of-town guys, you'd like to see them go far in the playoffs for their high school team, and it's tough to see them get eliminated from playoff contention. Good play by Tessina here on a rangy play to his right. He was in the hole. But like I was saying, Milford really benefits from having a full team, bringing all these talents from outside towns. And like we've seen it here tonight with the Rebello home run, and now Izzo, as well as a couple other guys. It's really good to have a full team, and they're really reaping the benefits so far.
All 18 players present and accounted for right from day one. It is the first time that has happened for Post 59, certainly in the 5 years that I have covered the team. One out and the base is empty as Brandon McMullen stands in, and not to be understated, that last play by Matt Tessina on the ball hit deep in the hole at shortstop by Connor McCaffrey. A long range to his right, a backhanded stab, and an off-balance throw getting to first base in time, so terrific play from the shortstop Tessina. And now a bouncer back to the pitcher's mound off the bat of McMullen, fielded by Izzo. And there are quickly 2 gone in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, I was going to go back to that play by DeCina because it kind of got undershadowed by the comment I was making about the out-of-town kids. But right on cue, Matt DeCina with a great play in the hole, ranging to his right, almost behind third base when he finally was able to get to throw. He didn't even have his full force behind him. He lost his balance, but a good, strong throwing arm by DeCina was able to get the out at first. And then a little tapper by McCullen back to Izzo for the second out of the inning. And now we see Jared Weatherby, the first baseman, Jared Weatherby.
Those defensive changes really coming fast and furious at us. We had just gotten our bearings with the defensive alignment when Sean Rebello had hit the inside the park home run last inning, but Jared Weatherby, the first baseman, grounds out to second base. And a very nice inning as Derek Izzo looks like he has gotten more and more comfortable as this game has gone on. His second 1-2-3 inning of the night. And as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning, it remains 5-2 in favor of Milford here on WMRC First Class Radio. We have another final score alert for you from around Zone 4. The game taking place between Northbridge and Framingham, 2 teams that have gotten off to good starts on the season. Northbridge able to come through with a walk-off 6-5 victory to defeat Framingham. Framingham had been the top team in the zone with a 2-0 record, tied with Shrewsbury coming into the night tonight. Northbridge, meanwhile, with the win will improve to 3-1, so we will see a standings shakeup. Framingham showing a lot of offensive firepower through their first 2 victories of the year, but coming up short to Northbridge by that final score of 6-5. We will also take a quick peek into Fenway Park while we have the opportunity, and that score for the Red Sox and Orioles has changed dramatically from the last time we checked in. 6 runs for the Red Sox now through 3 innings. They lead the Orioles 6-0 as that game heads into the bottom of the 3rd.
It's about time those bats start to come alive again. They've really been stifled their last few games. So it's good to see the runs start to come in bunches now for the Red Sox. Hopefully a lot of their guys, Travis Shaw, Hanley Ramirez, some of the guys that are slumping can finally start to heat up a little bit.
Well, I can tell you one of the RBIs belongs to Travis Shaw on an RBI double, and Hanley Ramirez, a 3-run home run, is the biggest blow so far in that game. Continue to keep you updated on the Red Sox until the conclusion of our broadcast, at which time we will send you over to Fenway Park for the conclusion of that game, heard right here on First Class Radio. Kevin Valentine leading things off in the inning. He flies a pitch out to left field. The catch made there for out number 1. And we have a direct quote from Craig D'Alessandro, our executive producer back in our NewEnglandFatLoss.com studios. He says, an absolute moonshot on the 3-run blast from Hanley Ramirez. So good to see the first baseman flexing his muscles after he's had a bit of a power outage this season. Back to live action here at Fino, where Aiden Wild sneaks the ball through the left side of the infield for a 1-out single. And this will bring the suddenly red-hot bat of Blake Hill to the plate. An RBI single in the first inning and the first of 2 Milford inside the park home runs. A 2-run inside the park home run hit back in the 3rd. Here is the first pitch of the at-bat, and Hill skies it on the infield. The shortstop, Isaac Gonzalez, ranges in. Now right at the lip, the inside lip of the infield grass, he's able to make the catch.
And that's a little bit over-aggressive there by Hill, probably a little bit anxious. After a shot down the right field line, went for an inside the park home run in his last at-bat. A little bit of an anxious swing there. First pitch swinging, flies it up to the shortstop for the, second out of the inning.
Aiden Wild remains at first base now for Jeff Basazzi, who reached on an error back in the first inning and then fouled out to the first baseman Jared Weatherby on that well-documented catch right at the very edge of the field of play. Milford arguing that the catch was made out of play, but the out stood. A swing and a miss from Basazzi here, taking off for second base and sliding in safely is Wild with the steal. Milford has been running all day on Brandon McMullen, who just has not been up to the task with these throws from behind the plate.
And I think a lot of that controversy from that play over near the first base line was because you don't see a lot of plays like that here at Fino Field. The ball either stays in play because there's so much foul ball area, or really goes far out of play. You don't see a lot of balls really close to the out of play line like that. So when you finally see one, maybe it's not something that's touched on in pregame rituals between the umpires and coaches, but nonetheless a great catch by Weatherby, and Bazazzi looks to get revenge here in his third at bat of the game.
A 1-ball, 2-strike count on the catcher, Jeff Bazazzi, with 2 outs in the inning, a runner in scoring position. That scoreboard continues to read 5-2 in favor of Milford. Here's the next pitch, a check swing attempt from Bazazzi. Did he hold up? Yes, he did. No swing, says the infield umpire. Two balls and 2 strikes now.
Bazazzi, a Milford High School graduate, Framingham State player this year. Got a fair amount of action for a freshman, so he's primed and ready to go for this 2016 Milford Legion season.
One of 3 returning college players, along with Kevin Valentine and Matt Tessina. This pitch is driven in the air out to left field off the bat of Bazazzi. Going deep out there and left is McCaffrey, and he is able to make the catch. It has been an adventurous day out in left field from McCaffrey, but that time he was able to track the ball very deep out there in left field to make the catch for the final out in the bottom of the 5th inning. So Milford strands a runner in scoring position. We will head to the 6th, though. Milford continues to lead Sturbridge by a score of 5-2 as we bring you live coverage of Milford Legion baseball here on WMRC First Class Radio. Milford entering action today in 6th place position out of the 13 teams in Zone 4. Of course, very early to start doing any standings watching, but the 1-1 record for Milford puts them in a virtual tie with North County, Maine South, and Wachusett, all the teams currently at 1-1 on the season entering action today, as that pitch was absolutely tattooed towards third base. First pitch swinging from Stover, and Aiden Wild able to make the catch.
And they don't call it the hot corner for nothing, Tim. That ball was smoked off the bat by Stover, right at Aiden Wild. Almost went over his head. Great reaction by him. And wow, that was smoked off the bat. I'm surprised he caught it, but great reaction in the first out of the inning.
It's one of those plays where the ball catches you more than the other way around.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where you kind of throw your glove up and hope that it lands in your glove. Probably rubbing his palm after that one. That ball was smoked, but I'm sure he's just happy to make the catch. Looked in his glove and said, hey, look what I found.
So after Tyler Stover is retired on that blistering liner to third, Keegan Moynihan up now with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, I just saw Wild take his glove off there too and look at his hand, so he's feeling the effects of that one.
Now a waving swing and a miss at a pitch that darted out of the strike zone. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Keegan Moynihan, the right fielder, up now. Tyler Wade, the third baseman, to follow. Now the pitch, another off-balance swing and a miss on a ball down in the dirt. Bazazzi fires down to first base to complete the strikeout play. That's the 4th K in the game for Derek Izzo, who has really gotten it done in this game now. 5 2/3 innings deep in his outing. And it just feels like with every inning, the confidence has grown in Izzo.
Yeah, 2 out of the last 3 innings have been 1-2-3 innings for Izzo. The exception being the 4th inning when he let up 1 hit with 2 outs, but was able to get out of that unscathed, and he's looking for another 1-2-3 inning here. And for someone who isn't a strikeout pitcher, not typically overpowering, more of a command guy, 4 strikeouts on the night tonight, so he's done a little bit of everything so far.
No doubt a performance that is going to be well received by the coaching staff as Derek Izzo makes his debut for Post 59 out of Bellingham High School, where he graduated just a matter of days ago.
And it looked a little shaky the first couple innings. Got through that first inning, but he had to go through 5 batters to get there. And then let up those 2 runs after Milford spotted him, a 2-run lead in the bottom of the first inning, let up those 2 runs in the top of the second, so it looked a little shaky. They had Ireland throwing in the bullpen, but he has since sat down as Izzo is really settled in, but he issues a walk here to Wade. So that 1-2-3 inning will not happen, but he looks to get back on the right track versus the new hitter Kenyon, who replaced Eliason.
Robbie Kenyon came in for defensive purposes a couple of innings ago. He swings at the first pitch he sees and lofts it foul over the backstop and out of play. So a walk here given up, just the first for Izzo. And if Derek is able to get through this inning relatively quickly, it will be interesting to see the decision from Coach DeVito. Does he allow Izzo to complete the game, or does he go with a fresh arm for the 7th? We did see Coach DeVito use Aiden Wild in a save situation against Leominster back on Sunday. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count now to Kenyon. Sends this pitch in the air out to shallow right field, a tricky play as Espinette backpedals onto the outfield grass, but he gets there to make the play. And that will be the final out here in the top of the 6th inning. The 2-out walk proves to be harmless. We head to the home half of the 6th inning. Milford leading Sturbridge 5-2 as you enjoy coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. We welcome you back in once again to Fino Field here in Milford. Post 59 leading Sturbridge Post 109 by a score of 5-2. Milford with 5 runs on 5 hits with 1 error. Sturbridge 2 runs on 5 hits with 2 errors. Milford with 5 runs on 6 hits in the game, I should say, getting a single by Aiden Wild in the 5th inning as their 6th hit. 2 of the 6 hits in the game tonight have served as inside the park home runs. So we have already seen 3 total home runs through 3 games for Milford. Kevin Valentine sending one out of the yard in Leominster back on Sunday, and then a pair of inside the parkers here today. So it's about as many home runs as you can see in an entire season for this post 59 team, but getting them in early this year.
Well, like you alluded to earlier, whenever you play here at Fino Field, you put a good charge into a ball. It might not go over the fence, but there's a lot of space out in the outfield, and the ball's going to just keep rolling. So once you hit it far enough and it gets past the outfielders, a runner with good enough speed always has a chance to make it all the way around.
A 1-ball, no-strike count on Joe Sanchioni leading off the bottom of the 6th inning. Tyler Stover, the starter for Sturbridge, still in the game. And I think one thing that's easy to really pinpoint about this Milford team is up and down the lineup, excellent speed. And so if you're going to put a ball in the gap in the outfield here at Fino Field, chances are you're looking at least a triple, if not an inside the park home run, which we've obviously seen 2 of already.
Yeah, your 3, 4, 5 hitters, which are generally your power hitters, which in this case for Milford, they are Valentine, Wild, and Hill tonight. They're also your speed guys a little bit too. Decina and Espinot obviously provide valuable speed at the top of the lineup. And then you look down the lineup, Sanchioni, Farrell, and Rebello, all outfielders who have very good speed. So, I mean, throughout this lineup, Milford's going to be stealing a lot of bases. They're going to be very aggressive, and they should look to score a lot of runs, put a lot of runners in scoring position this year.
A 1-ball, 2-strike count now on Sanchioni. Here's the pitch, and this is away, and the count evens at 2. Sanchioni looking for his first hit tonight. He lined out to left field back in the 1st inning and popped out to second base in the 3rd. As now timeout is granted at home plate. Sanchioni with 1 hit so far on the season, and now 5 total at bats, but he delivers this pitch out towards second base, in and out of the glove of Mick Sullivan, and Sanchioni's going to reach. That was deceiving off the bat. It looked like it was going to make its way over the head of Sullivan out into right field, but It ended up sinking quickly. It was in the glove of Sullivan on a line momentarily, but then dropped to the infield dirt.
And it seemed to be a little bit of reversed roles here tonight. Last night, as you mentioned in the pregame, Milford's really struggled on defense. Tonight, they seem to be playing pretty sound defense, but it's Sturbridge who isn't playing good defense, specifically in left field and now at second base.
And a quick, accurate throw this time from the catcher as Sanchioni was off on the pitch, and for the first time tonight, Milford is caught stealing. So after we talk about the great speed on this team, this time Milford gunned down trying to steal second base.
Well, Sanchioni did show good speed there, but unfortunately, this time McCullen was able to gun him down. He has struggled behind the plate a little bit, bouncing a lot of his throws, not very accurate throws, but this time a very quick release. He has shown a quick release here tonight. It's been more of his throws that have been the problem. Another good release, another good quick release, good transition, I should say, between the glove to the hand, and good tag, good throw. Everything worked that time for the Sturbridge team to gun down Sanchioni.
And now Michael Farrell lifts a pitch in foul territory towards the Milford dugout area, and this time they will say no catch as Sturbridge had drifted inside the defined chalk outline that goes in front of the Milford dugout. And so no catch. That will be strike two on Farrell.
Almost a collision there between McCullen, the catcher, and Weatherby, the first baseman. Luckily, Weatherby showed a very athletic play, sort of like a football juke to get out of the way. That could have been very bad for the Sturbridge side.
Now Farrell sends another fly ball, foul and out of play. The next pitch on the way from Stover, and Farrell tries to check his swing, but he cannot. A strikeout victim. That's just the second K for Tyler Stover, and his first strikeout since all the way back in the first inning.
Well, Stover seems to be another guy. We haven't really talked about him much. He doesn't seem to be overpowering. Sort of like Izzo, more of a fastball curve change guy. Hits his spots, not overpowering. Like you said, only his second strikeout, but unfortunately he hasn't had much success, as much success tonight as Izzo has had.
And now quickly, Sean Rebello skies a pitch on the infield behind the second base bag where Mick Sullivan is able to make the catch. So Sanchioni reaching on that error to open up the inning, but caught stealing, and then two quick outs from there as Tyler Stover ends up facing the minimum in the bottom half of the sixth inning. So Milford cannot extend the lead. They will head to the top of the seventh inning, 3 outs away from a win, up 5-2 over Sturbridge here on First Class Radio. Well, Derek Izzo's day on the mound is done. A very well-pitched ball game from the Milford starter, 6 innings. He allowed 2 runs on 5 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 4. He is in line to get the victory. And on to pitch this 7th inning now, making his first appearance of 2016, is Brian Ireland. Ireland in his second season with Post 59 worked exclusively out of the bullpen a year ago and was a very reliable middle and late inning reliever. Served in that same capacity for the Scarlet Hawks during his junior season, but was pressed into service as a starter this year and did pitch very well. Led the team in innings pitched.
And I think his best role is coming in as that middle relief to late relief guy. Likes to see the lineup kind of go through once or twice to see hitters' tendencies. And he's kind of a different look, has a little bit of a funky windup with a quick leg kick, kind of hides the ball behind his front leg. So it's a little bit difficult for hitters to pick up. So I think his best role is that middle to late inning role coming in relief.
Ireland facing batters 8, 9, and 1 in this inning. Isaac Gonzalez leading off, who has really been the best hitter in this lineup today. A pair of singles. He has an RBI as well. Put good contact on the ball on his last swing, but couldn't keep it fair down the third base line. He's down 1-2, but now lines a pitch out to shallow center field in for a base hit. The third hit of the game for Isaac Gonzalez. batting out of the number 8 spot. Sturbridge might want to think about moving him up. Certainly had a good day today.
Yeah, he's been the most consistent hitter tonight for Sturbridge. Other than his 3 hits, the other hits for Sturbridge have been scattered throughout the game. The only other RBI coming from this man, Sullivan, with the RBI back in the top of the 2nd inning. So like you said, Sturbridge should probably consider maybe moving Gonzalez up in the lineup, but the way I look at it sometimes is if it isn't broke, don't fix it. So maybe Gonzalez likes this number 8 spot, and maybe they should keep him there for a reliable source of contact and getting on base from the bottom of the order.
Ground ball now from Sullivan to third base. The play by Aiden Wild. He sends a low throw to second base. They are able to get the out there on Gonzalez, but no chance to complete the 5-4-3 double play. If it had been a cleaner throw to second base, they might have had a chance, but the throw into the shoe tops of that pivot man, so no chance for the double play.
And that's a good play by Espinette at second base. That ball one-hopped him to second base, and he's not a short guy. He had to go down low to get that. So that's a good play to make sure they get one out. That ball gets by him. That runner at second could be going all the way to third.
So Gonzalez erased on the play. Mick Sullivan replaces him at first base now with 1 out. And we go back to the top spot in the lineup, Connor McCaffrey. McCaffrey 0 for 3, a pair of ground outs and a fly out. And if there's one player in this game who may be anxious for it to come to an end, it's Connor McCaffrey, whose day in left field has been not exactly textbook. A lot of balls hit in his direction, a lot of tough hops, a lot of tricky plays. And now a swing and a miss, and McCaffrey will strike out quickly against Brian Ireland for out number 2.
Yeah, tough day so far for McCaffrey. Like you said, a lot of balls hit to him, a lot of balls past him today. Some via his own misplays and some via tough hops like you alluded to. And so far, 0 for 4 on the day. Strikeout in his what appears to be possibly his last at bat. So hopefully he can right the ship in his next game out.
So the last hope for Sturbridge is the catcher, Brandon McMullen, who takes a pitch inside for ball 1, 2 away here in the top of the 7th inning. Milford just 1 out away from a victory. Here's the pitch, and this is lifted in the air out to right field. Racing out is Brian Espinette. He dives into foul ground. Does he make the catch? No, he cannot hold on. A full-on dive for Espinette. Maybe about an inch away from making a sensational play to end the game, but instead it lands foul.
And luckily that ball did land foul, or else it could have been extra bases for McCullen. That ball was hit so high into no man's land out towards right field. That ball could have gone for extra bases, so luckily it did land foul, and almost a great play by Espinette at second base. He had to go a long way to get to that one.
Now a 1-1 pitch, and that's in right at the bottom inside corner of the strike zone. And it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count, 2 outs in the inning.
And that looked like a little bit of a gift there by the home plate umpire. That ball looked a little bit low and in.
Here's the next pitch, up and away. Basasi thought about a snap throw to first base, but holds on to it. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on the batter, Brandon McMullen. Mick Sullivan, the runner at first base, with 2 outs in the 7th. Ireland peers in for the sign. Here is the pitch, and it's a bouncer on a couple of hops to first base. Kevin Valentine fields it. He will take it to the first base bag himself for the final out in this ball game. Brian Ireland finishes the job. He does allow 1 hit in the inning, but that is all, and Milford will see their first victory on their home field of the season as they defeat Sturbridge Post 109 by a final score of 5-2. So the inside the park home runs certainly a big factor in this game. Exciting plays for Milford as the offense was able to come to life after a sluggish performance yesterday. Cleaner play in the field, so all the way around, Anthony, a solid victory for Milford.
Yeah, like you said, those 2 inside the park home runs are really the highlights from tonight's game. Blake Hill in the 3rd inning with a 2-run inside the park home run, and then right in the next inning, Bellingham kid in the 4th inning, home run and an RBI, and solid pitching on the mound by Izzo. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, and a couple of strikeouts to go along with it. Really a sound game for Milford. They corrected a couple of the things that they didn't do so well last night against Shrewsbury. They didn't leave many guys on base, and they didn't make many errors in the field. They put a lot of pressure on the Sturbridge defense, which did make a lot of errors, in the field tonight. Overall, a good win for Milford to get on in the win column at home, and they'll look to get back on to continue the winning in their next game.